I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Joan, we have the roll recorded. Mike, we have a couple additions for the agenda. Yes.
Okay, the one under personnel is the approval of revised job descriptions. And the next,
So that's going to be N1, 2, 3, and 4?
correct. And then O is approval of adjusted stipends.
Correct. Okay.
And the other item under finance is the agreement of sale for 811 Northampton Street property.
That's H.
Yes.
Okay. With those agendas to the, those additions made to the agenda, can we have approval of the agenda?
Motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. And all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Superintendent's report.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to take this opportunity to commend Mr. Terrence Kennedy for his dedication in improving literacy skills. Mr. Kennedy has led the charge by volunteering his time and resources for the 7th year in the Easton Area School District. Mr. Kennedy's mission of personalized books given to children incorporated is to promote the excitement of reading through the support of local businesses by providing first grade students in the Lehigh Valley with a personalized storybook. There is no cost to the school district or the child's family, as there is corporate sponsorship for the first grade personalized books. A book with your very own name on it. Who can resist it? Maintaining an effective school environment that is conducive to learning is our staff and administration's driving force. Working and building these relationships is the focus that we certainly try to achieve for our student outcomes, is the key to our existence. Mr. Kennedy, the world is a better place due to the philanthropic support you have bestowed upon our first grade students. We are proud to call you a partner in supporting the Easton Area School District's mission of educating for life's journey. It is my hope that many others will follow your lead. Helen Keller once said, "Many persons have a wrong idea of what constitutes true happiness. It is not attainment through self-gratification, but through fidelity to a worthy purpose." I would ask that Mr. Kennedy please stand and be recognized for everything that you have done. These are some of the many books that each one of our children within the last 7 years have received. So when you look at a hardback book, you look at this, but the child's name is inside it. And everyone knows that when you make connections with students and you find a resource that makes them worth reading, and obviously our literacy skills have increased as a result of you. I would ask that you come and shake each one of our hands, as you truly have been a remarkable partner.
Yes, congratulations. Thank you very much.
While he's doing that, I would be remiss if I did not recognize all the support that our businesses have also been in a partner with Mr. Kennedy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's my honor. Mr. Kennedy, on behalf of myself, our board, and our school district, I offer you a certificate of appreciation for all that you have done and continue to do for our school, our students, and our district. Thank you. I also wanted to mention all of our corporate sponsors that work with Mr. Kennedy in order to make this worthwhile initiative come to fruition. The Easton Kiwanis, Subway, KNBT, Brown Daub, Ashton Funeral Home, Boyne Computer Systems, and Services, Rotary Club of Easton, Easton Hospital, Vision Accomplished, Highmark Blue Shield, Nazareth Area Exchange Club, Originate Ventures, KNBT Charitable Foundation, and Capital Blue Cross. Again, thank you. I'm going to pass these around so the board can see some of the many works that you have done. And you do these in your own home, am I correct?
That's correct.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, I do have one piece here as well. Is Mrs. Ludi still here? No? I understand that this evening, outside in the lobby, and we'd like to thank them, they had the chamber strings playing for us. And so thank you very much, and Mr. Cuck, please pass that along if you would.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Other communications? Anything? Okay. Under reports, the IU?
Our monthly meeting is tomorrow, but at last month's meeting, we received our independent auditor's report and passed with flying colors. You know, we've heard a budget proposal for 2013-2014, and as Dr. Brennan has gone to various of the IU member school districts, one of the things that those school boards have been interested in is more information on the medical trust fund, which the IU helps coordinate. So I think that's something we should also keep in mind as we go through our negotiating process. Thank you.
Good. Mr. Riley, the library.
Mr. President, the board met on March 12th at the boardroom. Regular business was conducted. Nothing of any major significance for the board. The next meeting is April 9th at 3 p.m. at one of the branches. Is it Southside or Palmer? Palmer Branch. So if anyone's interested in going to a library board meeting, we'll be meeting at Palmer Branch.
Very good. CIT, Mr. Ryder.
Yes, negotiations are still continuing with the professional staff up there, the teachers. Dr. Roth is looking into some safety and security measures with ventilation in the masonry area, new ventilation, and some new doors for better security up there as well. And Thursday, and I'm not sure about the entire program, but Allentown, Bethlehem, and Easton are receiving dollars for career and tech with state funds in appropriations with slash employers. So I'm attending that with Dr. Roth on Thursday, late morning, early afternoon at Lehigh Valley VOTEC. The governor's going to be there to make some presentations. I'm anxious to see what kind of dollars and cents that's going to go back into kids. So that'll be fun. Thank you. No booze for books this time yet. So this is good.
The community college, because we had altered our schedule of meetings.
A little bit more on the CIT report. We did have 2 demonstrations from students who are going on in competition to demonstrate. One was putting an electronic device together, and the other one was occupods based on watering plants and so forth. And the other thing, he asked for someone to help with their judging of their Teacher of the Year, and he called, since nobody volunteered, he called me up and asked me, as a former Teacher of the Year, to be on that committee to judge for their Teacher of the Year competition up there. And I said yes. He hasn't gotten back to me with a date, but I will do that. So Easton's going to have one of the board members that will judge that.
Okay, thank you. The community college, because of rescheduling meetings, our next meeting is actually coming up next week.
Yeah,
Unless anything
April,
was
is
passed.
it's the first Thursday in
Thursday.
April. Yeah, it's early. It's
Legislative.
There are several pieces of legislation that are moving through the Education Committee of the Senate and the legislature, so I would encourage everybody, I'm going to be forwarding everybody the PSBA liaison report so that you have that, because instead of going through it all here, it would be quite lengthy. but just to be abreast of the legislation that is moving through the different committees.
Very good, thank you. Mr. Koch?
Presenting, of course, each month is our Student Council President, Jean Gabot.
Thank you, Mr. Cook. Good evening. Just a few things. We had a St. Patrick's Day pretzel sale a couple weeks ago, and we sold 200 shamrock-shaped pretzels during lunches. We also have a blood drive tomorrow in the auxiliary gym, so I encourage all of you and students as well to come to the high school from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. to help us save lives with Miller Keystone. And Mr. Easton, we've been diligently planning that. So we have now 7 candidates vying for the title of Mr. Easton, which is again on April 11th, 7 p.m., and they're practicing in the coming weeks. And the Student Council, especially the junior class, is working very hard on the Spirit Week leading up to EASD Day on April 26th and Westside AAG on April 27th. We also have a track and field Special Olympics on May 1st, and we have 50 volunteers for that. And we are working with the PTSA to have more suggestions for post-prom to make sure that post-prom is an enjoyable night for all the students who attend. And we are organizing a community service activity in recognition of soldiers for Memorial Day as well. And I'd also like to thank the school board members that I saw at the All-City Chorus concert. I was performing that night, and I'd like to thank you for supporting us and the music program down at the high school. And I am in the choir, so I can personally attest to the fact that the music program is a great program and it's a quality program, and just hope for coming generations that it stays untouched as it is now. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and next, we have no PTA report this evening. Janet?
Good evening. I was kind of excited when I saw our students playing when I came upstairs tonight. It's always nice to see they work extremely hard, and I think their parents work a little bit harder than they do. Being a parent of a music student, lots of running around, so it was nice to hear them play. I'm going to start out this evening with my monthly honor of being able to acknowledge our Teacher of the Month and our Partner in Ed for the month. This month it has a little bit different meaning. I get to work with these 2 individuals on a daily basis. Did not nominate either of them. Actually, to date, I have not nominated anyone. And I don't get to vote on it, but when these 2 individuals won this month, it was extremely rewarding for me because, like I said, I get to work with them on a daily basis. So I am going to put you guys on the spot. Come on, girls. Our first is our partner in education, and that's Mrs. Allie Ramirez. She is the secretary at March Elementary School. And Allie has a lot of roles. Not only is she in charge of making all the magic happen, but she gets to deal with all the kids in the building, whether they're healthy or sick or there for discipline or whatever. She's also our translator most times, since she speaks both English and Spanish, and sometimes she understands what I'm saying when I'm not speaking either. So, Mrs. Allie Ramirez, our partner. Plus, she has stashes of chocolate, which, if anyone doesn't know, that's the teacher's best friend. And our Teacher of the Month this month is Mrs. Heather Matsko. She is actually a long-term sub this year, as she was furloughed last school year. Heather's been with the district for 13 years, and due to taking a year to have a baby, she ended up in a seniority situation. She was furloughed last year. Heather teaches 4th grade. And you never know kind of what you're going to get when you walk in her room. Yesterday it included a pink boa, a purple boa, and a tiara, and a wand teaching figurative language, something the kids probably won't quickly forget, and I think many staff members in our building know how to do them as well. Heather is also a teacher I work with. As the gifted support teacher in our building, she has students that I work with, and it's just a phenomenal relationship. So this is Heather Matz. neither of them wanted to come up here or be put on the spot, which is exactly why I did that. You know, March is always an interesting time of year in our schools. We are coming up on a very important time of year. Our students, grades 3 through forever, are going to be taking the PSSAs. I encourage all of you who know a school-age child to buy them lots of vitamin C. We've been dealing with lots of stomach, flu, and bug situations, but hopefully everybody fumigates during spring break and we come back a little healthier. Lots of sleep. And it's always an interesting time of year. I shared with Mr. Fanel earlier that I get a lot of anxiety around this time of year. Just the test being there makes me anxious. But our kids have worked really hard, so if you know a school-age child or family, please encourage them to get lots of rest and send them to school ready to go. So that being said, have a lovely spring break, and thank goodness the snow is gone.
Thank you. Under the standing committee reports, are there any comments going through academics, policy, athletics, building or finance? I think everything's within the agenda. Okay. At this point, I'd like to open the floor to anybody from the public that would like to address the board. I just ask that you please state your name and address as you get to the podium. And also sign in, please. On agenda items. I'm not seeing any hands raising. Okay, we're going to move on. On our agenda, we have the approval of minutes as listed, and there's quite a few of them between that and under the executive sessions. Can I have a motion for those?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions or corrections? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Under personnel, we try to take retirement separate. May I have a motion for the retirement as it's listed?
Motion with regrets.
Second with regrets.
Thank you. Any other comments? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Continuing under personnel, we have B through L, and I'll stop at that point. Then we have a motion. Thank you.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any comments?
Comments, yes, on I, National Board Certification. I would like to, as a former educator, congratulate Amber Jean Martin as a National Board Certified Teacher. I think that's fantastic, going above and beyond the call of duty. Thank you, Amber.
Can we please have that noted in the agenda, as long as the person making the motion and the second agree?
Second.
Agreeable.
Thank you. And that'll be in the minutes then. Any other comments? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? The next is a staffing resolution. Under the direction of the board, we're recommending that the superintendent and the central administration team, number one, study all staffing needs of the district based upon instructional program requirements and student enrollment. Number two, determine the minimum staffing needs of the district for the upcoming school year based upon the foregoing studies. Number three, make recommendations to the board based upon the considerations set forth in the Public School Code during April and May 2013 concerning whether employee positions should be maintained, added, reduced, or eliminated during the 2013-2014 school year. Take such steps as may be legally required to alter or curtail programs and, if necessary, to reduce and realign staff. Number five, notify all employees who may be affected by the recommendations. Number six, consult with and work with the district legal counsel to ensure the correctness and completeness of the process. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Under N, job descriptions. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? O, salary stipends.
You want to bring it up, and then I'll just refresh the board. On the previous motion and on this current motion, just as a reminder to the board, this was the long overdue proposal that was presented last year, or last July, on the restructuring, where these employees encompassed full positions that were eliminated. And again, this was talked about last July, and my bad for not having it up until now.
Any other questions? I'd like to have a motion. No, we did, Joan, did we get the motion second? Did we get a motion second?
Wait, I have more, I have another question.
Wait.
Can you give us, the amount saved, the whole thing?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, and the 4 positions that were encompassed, there was an elimination of about $225,000 in salaries. And what we're proposing is stipends totaling $22,000.
Any other?
That's a one-time stipend or yearly?
That's correct, one time.
One time.
Any other questions?
Just a comment and a question.
Please.
Mr. Simonetta, I'd like to thank you and the employees who have stepped up and helped this district by doing more. And it's right and proper that we recognize that. The question I have is, do you think there are other opportunities within the school district to have a similar net effect?
Well, I think as the administration, we're always looking at that, and we're in the middle of the budget session as well. And as you know, we're trying to balance the budget to bring it down to the parameters that have been set, and that is being looked at anywhere we can.
Thank you.
Other comments or questions? Hearing none, may I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second there? Any other questions? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on, under academics, we have field trips, A, B, C, D. I believe we can go right on through 12, the policy, and I'm going to take it and slow it down here. We'll stop at the end of policy. Can we have a motion for all those?
Second.
Motion.
Excuse me, could we
Please.
take, I have questions on C, so do you want me to address those now?
Sure. We have a motion and a second, Joan?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Okay, on C, I apologize, Mr. Cock, because I wasn't at the presentation, but I had a few questions that I wanted to have addressed just for clarification purposes. In the description of the program that we received the grant money for, that states in a portion of it that there are courses that will be added. There are 2 courses that you presented thus far, and there's courses that will be added each year.
Yeah, in order to meet that 3-year requirement, all 4 courses have to be offered at East High School. For next school year, the implementation plan as described during the meeting was that the 2 initial courses, principles, and I can't recall, an IED.
Right.
The 2 courses, Introduction to Engineering Design and the Principles of Engineering Design, are to be offered next year. That's what was presented at the meeting itself.
So is the plan that the other, because it said 8, up to 8 credits. The courses would be equivalent to up to 8 credits that students would be able to accrue over their courses of their academics for the 4 years.
It's not necessarily, it's not 8 credits at East High School. It's those credits that they would receive in articulated credits through the corresponding schools that are participating. It's basically 4 courses, Zelson, that we're proposing over the 3 years as part of the grant requirement for the contract that's there for the $35,000.
Okay.
So over the 3 years, we are responsible for implementing 4 courses. The credit value is determined by what we are
Right.
offering in-house.
Right.
What is articulated is, and then in those agreements that Project Lead the Way has with corresponding universities and or colleges throughout the country.
Okay, so here's my question then.
Yes.
If these 2 courses that you presented in description right now
Correct.
are courses that we currently,
Those courses basically are taking the place of courses that we're offering now. Right now, we are offering Drafting Design 1, Drafting Design
Right.
2, and we're also offering Applied Technology. What's going to happen is that those courses that enrollment for some of those courses will go to the Project Lead the Way courses, so we don't have to increase staff, but we can still offer those courses simultaneously without increasing costs to the district. So a student that in the past may have taken Drafting and Design 2 now has the opportunity to take Principles of Engineering. A student that took Applied Tech now has the ability to take the IED course, the Intro to Engineering and Design. It's a lot of new language for me, so,
Right,
and I don't
right.
have anything in front of me, but those are the
No,
two
and I
courses
apologize. I
so
should have
it's
prepared
IED
you.
and POE.
I should have
are
prepared
the-
you for the questions,
And
I'm
that's
sorry.
fine, but those are the two courses. So as I, described at that meeting with Selson, what would take place of is we're, the current offerings that kids requested, we're still offering students. Of those students, many of them will have the option then to take the POE or the IED course in lieu of that. The curriculum is very similar, but it's not by a not necessarily right now being taught by a teacher who's going to be trained by Project Lead the Way, and it's not the exact Project Lead the Way curriculum, which also has an assessment that's attached to it that must be done as well as part of the course. So
Okay.
what we're asking for is to move ahead with the 3-year requirements. Over the 3 years, we will implement 4 courses.
Right.
Next school year, we'd like to implement 2,
Right.
and so we're asking to get your blessing from the board to move forward with those 2 items.
Right. Okay, and then my last question on that is, there's an advisory committee that you have that's been in existence in the past, because I was on it. And I would recommend, only for communication purposes and to make sure that the board is abreast of where we want to move in the direction of tech prep and everything, that you would have some membership from the board that you would allow to be part of that committee, because it was very helpful for us as we wanted to move forward with that tech prep program.
I would concur wholeheartedly, and that is when I presented at the committee meeting, was to offer it to volunteers or recommendations for those of you who may have missed, not only board members, Mrs. Ellison, but also any community members who you felt, or industry members who you felt needed to be part of that. As a school board, that is your position to recommend those people on that committee. And so any of you willing to participate will be added to that list.
Okay.
And you approve those members as well.
Okay, and then, in addition, the names on those lists. Henry, from Dewey Construction is no longer there, so is there a replacement for him, or are you?
Right, since I submitted that list, Henry has since changed.
Right.
And he is going to be asked to be removed from our committee, but he has been a member already as our local advisory committee for this year. He's also a member of our occupational advisory committee for engineering. He has only given me the recommendation that he's not going to be able to, in his new capacity, assist with the LAC. I'm not quite sure if he'll be able to commit to the occupational advisory committee for pre-engineering. That's a question I can ask him in the future.
And would you be looking for a replacement for a comparable, where he
That
was
could- yeah,
a
that would
direct
be-
liaison with the engineering part of that?
Absolutely. And those persons, I can take that recommendation, put them on my contact list, and make sure next time I have an LAC meeting that they are present.
Okay.
So you're saying that possibly next month or the month after, the board could submit a name or 2 names that they want on
The
that
only-
committee?
Right, the formal process that I'm asking the board to address as presented at the academics meeting is we need to approve a local advisory committee.
Right.
It's under chapter 4 regulation, it needs to be done.
Yes, I'm aware
And
of
what I'm
that.
saying is that list can be stacked, but on a yearly basis, those LAC representatives should be approved by the school board.
Yes.
And we haven't done that in the past, and that's why I'm making sure that it's done from
Right,
here on
right,
out.
and I just wanted to make the clarification that it would be helpful to have some board member or
And so
whatever.
any volunteer wants to send me an email, I have no problem adding you to my local advisory committee.
If you don't
Our-
mind, I would add my name right now to
Absolutely.
that. Okay, I would appreciate it,
Yeah,
thank you.
And I would do the same.
Absolutely.
I serve on the CIT committee, so, local advisory committee, so it would be a good relationship.
And your guidance and information would be helpful, Dr.
Right, thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments?
Just a comment. On the academics committee, obviously you explained that very well, the whole engineering program. And I'd just like, again, thank you, again, to the public. You and Justin Cass, who's one of your technology teachers, did a great job of finding $35,000 and essentially going back and evaluating your program and pointing it in the right direction. And I thank you for that. That's educationally sound.
Other comments?
And I would agree, you know, Justin Cass, Mr. Cass has done an unbelievable job in that department, and I would appreciate it if you would send that, as Mr. Ryder has mentioned.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? Hearing none, we had a motion and a second. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Under finance, we will take most of them. Payment, manual voided checks, treasurer's report, all the way down to and through meal prices, E. And we have a motion. Do we have a second?
What happened to policy?
Right?
E, after.
I had included in that in the last one, Carrie.
You're down to the
Okay,
meal
I didn't
prices.
think you include
Yes, sir.
policy.
Right.
Okay.
Very good.
So down to meal, do I have a second? Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Under budgets, it was requested that I would take them separately, so I will
Yes.
take all four separately. Can we have a motion for the CIT budget?
Second.
We have a motion and a
Beat me
second.
to it.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next is the IU budget. We have a motion.
So moved.
Have a second.
Second.
Okay. Any comments? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Third, Easton Public Library. Can we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any comments? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Thank you. I heard one.
Who is the member?
Me.
Bill.
Yeah, okay. Just that didn't work.
Listen,
Okay, on the motions, can we have a
Mr.
motion for the
Faber.
community college?
You went through on that one a little bit fast on the draw. I did have a comment.
On the Easton Library?
Yes.
Please.
And that was, I would say we ought to pursue Mr. Pinnebone's idea of looking at alternative funding sources so that over time, there'd be a shared responsibility. And that it would not only be on this school board's responsibility.
We actually have reached out and we're just awaiting a response.
Very good. Thank you.
The last one is the community college budget. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second? I think I heard Mayor. Any comments? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Oops, sorry, Bob?
This is a very good institution. It does a remarkably good job. However, it has gone way past its inception. It's succeeded wildly. And I think it's time that we look at their budget like we look at our own. And I would say that since we are obligated by law to support them, I would not vote for this budget because it involves an increase. And I would rather them see a flatline budget like we're going to be talking about later this year.
I would like to see either a flatline budget or an increase in the student tuition. I don't think it's our responsibility as a school district to support the community college after our kids graduate. Our concern is K to 12, our kids, and when they graduate, realistically, I think there should be another formula. And I do think it's out of its time. I'm also opposed to the community college budget.
Mr. President, I'd just like to say that by law, by state law, we are bound to pay 1/3 of the cost. The student pays 1/3, the state pays 1/3, and the school district from which they come from pays 1/3. So we can't change that formula unless it's changed on a state level. That has to stay the same. I may agree with our two board members who oppose it, but then we have to go to the state and say, you know, could this be changed? Under the current law, we are following the current law.
Well, we're not really. We're only about 12 to 14% of it is what the school districts contribute to.
No, I'm saying as far as what the students pay in tuition.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. As far as what actually we pay and so forth, we're down. But I mean, as far as a student taking a course, they pay 1/3, the state pays 1/3, and we pay 1/3. I think it's $309 now or something like that.
That's what the law states, but that's not what's being paid.
Okay. How's it different?
The students are paying a lot. We're paying around 12%,
Yeah,
so not 33%. The
Okay.
students are paying, the state somewhere, I think it was around 28 to 30%.
yeah.
And then the students are picking up the rest of the share.
Oh, well, then that's wrong.
But, so the law
The
has not
state,
changed, but that's exactly where it's ended up because of the economic times and everything.
yeah, and because of the governor.
So,
While,
yes. Yes.
while by law, we are obligated to support them, we are not obligated to approve an increase.
That is correct.
Mr. President,
Thank you.
I agree with both Mr. Ryder and Dr. Mosquitis. If there's going to be a funding issue, that goes through the state. My issue is we're trying to balance budgets and, provide for our children. I don't really think it's fair for the community college to increase on us. So I'm opposed to it as well.
I think one thing I must share, though, we are supposed to be the facilitator, just like the library. This was a discussion previously,
Right.
that we are just the pass-through. Okay, we're the mechanism for doing the tax. We're not the actual, because Mike can actually take it and set it outside of what our increase can be. But, that being said, the increase still does hit the bottom line taxpayer. So that's it's not that it is impacting ours necessarily, but we're looking out, you're saying, for the bottom line that's being passed through the taxpayer. Okay, I want just to clarify that piece.
I just would like to clarify one thing too, for everybody here, that Northampton Community College is an unbelievable facility that has enabled many of Easton Area School District students to take courses at a college level in high school. And so we have taken advantage of it. We took advantage of it when we had the dual enrollment, which, has been a huge help to students to facilitate going above and beyond. So our students do, in many ways, get a lot from it while they are our students from K to 12.
Any other comments? Hearing none. We have a motion and a second. I'll call the question. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
No. Joan?
Mrs. Ellison?
Yes.
Mrs. Matthews?
Yes.
Dr. Mosquitis?
No.
Mr. Pendergast?
No.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Ryder?
No.
Mr. Vanderburg?
Yes.
Dr. Volpino?
Yes.
Mr. Feynman?
Yes.
6 yes and 3 no.
Thank you. Moving on. This is a good one. The CIT distribution of unspent revenues. May we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
We have motions and seconds. I don't think we have a lot of questions or anything. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And our last one that we added is the agreement of sale on the 811 building.
Motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. Again, I will just ask, playing it safe, any comments? Hearing none. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? At this point, we will open the floor for any to be heard on non-agenda items, any discussion. Is there anybody that would like to address the board? Rich, just ask again that you please state your name and address and sign in at the podium.
Richard Siegfried, Palmer Township. Meetings are going pretty quick, but the job descriptions that you voted on, I think that was letter N. Are they going to be posted?
Yes,
in
sir.
public? And letter O is going to be? And I guess I dozed quickly because the graduation requirements policy L, it did say the first public reading,
Yes.
and I didn't hear a public reading. But that wasn't what I really came up here for. I came up here for the headlines of the newspapers lately, and especially the one today. And I quote here, when asked if there were 2 candidates for the superintendent, we're close to that. We're at a point narrowing it down. We have not finalized anything. I guess my conclusion when I walked out of the middle school the other night was a waste of time, because we were told on the public committee that there was 2 candidates. We were shown 2 candidates. But here, we don't know if we've really finalized it yet. Are there more than 2? I don't know at this point. And I'm just wondering when there's going to be some honesty come out of this school board, this school district. You know, I was taught if you get called in, if somebody asks you and point blank, it's a yes or a no. You can't get in trouble, but we don't seem to do those things around here. And it's a citizens committee that did that the other night. Yeah, it was a waste of time. It was a waste of time, a huge waste of time. You took the group that was there, you split them into 3, and we got to listen to the candidates, yes. But this group over here discussed this group here and group number 3 over here. We never discussed it as a group, so we came to no consensus. We have no clue what the other groups thought. We don't know who the other group, the people even were. I knew about 50% of them there. I believe there was around 30. You can report that you had a citizens committee, but it was far from a committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Would somebody else like to address the board this evening? I'm seeing no hands. At that point, I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn, and we will have a short executive session.
I have a comment. Did you skip the last section?
Oh, yes, I did. I'm sorry, Barry. Yes.
Um,
Any comments from the board?
Yeah, there was a hope that we would have, and I'm just expressing it here publicly, that we would have a meeting with math representation at the high school to discuss the 4-year requirement so that we can get on the correct page with what are going to be whole year courses and the description of, and be inclusive of having the math chair at the high school or the department head at the high school involved in that. So I just wanted to express that right now, that there's a hope that we're going to formulate that as a committee meeting and have a discussion.
Okay. Any other comments, Bob?
I have one topic, and that's the Pennsylvania Junior Academy of Science. I've had several parents send me emails over the past few weeks regarding the arrangements that the school district has made for those students of ours who have succeeded in the regional competition and have qualified to be able to go to state college. As the parent of 3 children who enjoyed that trip, I understand quite well that it can be a tremendous motivator and a good way at the time that we're trying to encourage students to pursue careers and do better in science and math. This is aligned exactly with our value system. But somewhere in the last 10 years, we have gone from fully supporting that effort to doing a lot less than that. And what I would ask is, I know Mr. Simonetta and the administration is doing something to help the students this year, but I would say that for the next school year, we should put in a line item budget that would cover the cost of students who do what we ask them to do, which is compete and succeed, and enable them to represent Easton with pride. The E on the logo, I would also submit, should stand for excellence. And whether it's music, it's science, it's sports, we ought to step up as a community and show these students that we appreciate their efforts. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Just my quick comment to Dr. Moskaitis. We have other clubs too, DECA and FBLA, almost exactly the same thing. They have regional or district and then state competition and national competition. These are academic clubs. They're just as important as sports and the arts, and we should support them. There's no question about that, because we should be fully rounded, and not only in sports and music and art and whatever, but in academics. These are academic projects and competition, and we should have a line item in there that covers these academic competition. Maybe not always on a regional level, because that's local a lot of times. But when it gets to a state level and a national level, they should be supported.
Any other comments, Bill?
Yes. 2 tidbits from my vast reservoir of semi-useless knowledge. Following the state, PSBA, various things in the computer, cyber education grows in districts, lowers enrollments of charter schools. Obviously, our perception as a board and our central administration are looking at cyber school, and we're developing that under Mr. First. I think that's a good step in the right direction. We obviously need to promote that and continue to make improvements in those areas. And a school district, and I won't read the school district's name, but they're looking at cyber school savings as an alternative and saving dollars and cents. And they're also looking at cyber as a potential for alternative education, which I thought was very interesting. The other thing I'd like to comment on, because I obviously brought it up at the last meeting and had brought it up prior to that in closed doors, was looking at facilities utilization, obviously the number of students in each building, room utilization at each building, and an update on all those school utilizations. And obviously, I think we stimulated some kind of information. We talked about the possibility of moving the academy, and I'm glad that there was a response, because I think we seriously need to look at that. And obviously, our administration is looking at that in the totality of it to see what kind of consolidation can be recommended by the administration and discussed with the board. Thank you.
Any other comments? Hearing none, I will now move for the adjournment with a short executive session following.
So moved.
Have a motion and second. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.